Hey everybody, welcome to Turning Pages with Paul and Lesley.
Hey everybody, we're so glad to be back. Can't wait to share this content with you all. But first, thank you all so much for watching this channel, for subscribing, for hitting the like button. We just appreciate you so much. You just don't know. We appreciate your support.
That is absolutely right, because I think I checked our channel this morning, babe.
Did you?
And I think we were at 183 subscribers.
Wow, for a new channel. Thank you all so much.
Really appreciate it.
Oh, wow.
And you know, the goal here is simply to create a community where we come together and discuss our love for books
love
and
reading.
That's all it's
love
about.
Reading.
We don't tell you what to read. We don't tell you how often you should read.
No.
It's a no judgment zone
here. Judgment free.
We are here just to enjoy reading and to share with you what we like to read, and hopefully you share with us what you like to read as well.
Yes, you all. Literacy is at the forefront of our minds because, you know, we just love it. First of all, number two, we know there's more needed.
Right.
As we see our young people, some of you have children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and we want to make sure that everybody has that opportunity to have a book in hand and know how to read and enjoy for the love of reading, not just because they have to, but because they want to.
That's right. So now that you know who we are and what we're about, let's get to why we're here today.
Yeah.
We're here to share with you our current favorites.
I'm ready.
Are you ready, baby?
I'm ready. I got them right here.
So that we all know where we're going at.
Yeah, okay,
It does not mean the books that are our favorite this year or this month. It means that at this point in our lives, these are the books that we have enjoyed the most, based on our reading for many, many years. And so she's got three, I've got three, and we're going to go back and forth kind of like a good tennis match. We're going to volley this thing. We're going to volley this thing back and forth. And so, babe, why don't you go first?
Awesome. So my first book is a beautiful, to me, lyrical narrative.
Okay.
The author is a middle school. She does elementary as well. Okay. And you know me, I love a great elementary read. I'm a teacher. I've got stacks and stacks and stacks of children's books in this house. Yes, I do. But this particular book is a middle grade reads, Paul, geared to the 6th through 8th grade. Mm-hmm. But really, you could start it at 5th and go all the way up to 12th, to be honest with you.
Okay.
But it's really written for those middle grade students, which I think is commendable, because those babies in the middle, they're always the ones that are just caught right there, you know?
Right.
And really, they're dealing with a lot. Remember when you were in middle school?
I do.
I remember when I was in middle school. Those were some of the toughest years of my life. And I appreciated having books to read that were on my level, but also addressed where I was in life at that time.
Okay.
And so this one is just a beautifully written book. She's the author of bestseller Esperanza Rising and The Dreamer. And this one is also a Newbery Award winner, and it's entitled Echo by Pam Munoz Ryan.
That is a pretty book.
Isn't that beautiful? Yeah. And of course, you see the medal there, the Newbery Award winning medal on a sticker on the book. It's beautiful. And if you can just imagine, if you're looking at the cover, mm-hmm. you can imagine how lyrical and beautiful the words in this book really just hit you. It's so beautiful.
Wow.
So this is a Newbery Honor book, a New York Times bestseller, a New York Times notable book, a Washington Post notable book, an ALA notable book, and an America's Award winner.
Wow.
Now listen to what Christopher Paul Curtis says about this book, because it really sums up this book in a nutshell. And he is also an award-winning author, African American writer of middle and high school books as well. He says this is a beautifully crafted story. It has mystery, adventure, and a powerful sense of hope and heart. A masterpiece.
Wow.
A masterpiece. And Paul, it's exactly what Christopher Paul Curtis says about it. And it says this: lost and alone in a forbidden forest, Otto meets three mysterious sisters and suddenly finds himself entwined in a puzzling quest involving a prophecy, a promise, and a harmonica. Decades later, Friedrich in Germany, Mike in Pennsylvania, and Ivy in California, each in turn become interwoven when the very same harmonica lands in their lives. All the children face daunting challenges, rescuing a father, protecting a brother, holding the family together, and ultimately pulled by the invisible thread of destiny. Their suspenseful solo stories converge in an orchestral crescendo. So this book is really centered around one harmonica that goes all over in this story to different places in different times and different people.
Yeah.
And then the ending makes you just want to cry.
Wow.
I did cry.
Okay.
It's just that beautiful of a book. It's a humdinger.
Yeah,
it's pretty thick.
Yeah.
But I read this with the audio book.
Okay.
And I love the audio because the music and the lyrical, I mean, just like it said, it ends in that crescendo. The music throughout with the harmonica playing in that audio book, reading this and listening to Paul, you can't beat it. Wow. It's a beautiful book. 5-star, really, to me, a 10-star book. Wow. Just that good. I think every adult, would really enjoy this. I'm not recommending, I'm just saying, even adults, and I'm an adult, and I enjoyed it. Echo by Pam Munoz Ryan.
Well, my first book is a Wall Street Journal bestseller.
Oh, wow.
It says at the very top 10 rules to fuel your life, work, and team with positive energy. And I like that idea that this is not just a business book. Although I did glean a lot from this for team building, because that's what I do professionally.
Yeah.
But it did help me to fuel my life as well.
Wow.
And it's called The Energy Bus.
Oh, yes. That's a good book.
The Energy Bus. It is really, did you get that? Let me see. There it is.
Yeah, there it is.
There it is. The Energy Bus.
That little bus.
Really cool book. This book really, really helped me to approach life with enthusiasm, with gratitude. It really, really helped me to think about my attitude a lot, how I approach things, how I approach people, how I approach life all together.
I love it.
And we read this book, babe, if you remember.
I do.
We read this in a group book study. And we did it online.
So
it was during the pandemic, I think in like 2021.
Yep.
We just got a group of about 8 people together, and we got on Zoom, and we read this book, I think a chapter or 2 a week or something like that. And we gathered every Sunday and talked about it. And I was really, really blown away by the different things that people picked up from the book and how this book really, really helped them out. And that's why it's one of my 3 favorites. The Energy Bus by John Gordon.
Well, I'm excited about this next book, Paul. You all, this book is a historical fiction book.
All right.
And if you've watched any of our videos, you should already know where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
But my favorite historical fiction writer is none other than Kristen Hanna.
All right.
I'm telling you, I've read so many of her books, and there has not been a book that I've read by Kristen Hanna, Paul, where I didn't sob.
Wow.
When I say sob, I mean some of those books at the end, you are crying hysterically.
Okay.
This was no exception. The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna. Okay. Sorry about the sticker. I know people don't like the sticker, but hey, Let's get
To
over
each his
that.
own, on her own.
Listen, this book. So this one is surrounded or centers around the Dust Bowl period.
Okay.
And there's one thing about history is that you can read about it, Paul, but these historical fiction writers, especially Kristen Hanna, can take that time in history
Right.
and create a narrative and make uh uh bring in real characters and real people um to make the history hit home.
Right.
This is no exception. The Four Winds is around. Let me just read what I see here. Hannah, meaning Kristen Hannah, brings Dust Bowl migration to life in this riveting story of love, courage, and sacrifice. She combines gritty realism with emotionally rich characters and lyrical prose that rings brightly and true from the first line. And that is no joke. That is
Wow. Wow.
in Elsa, a woman who fiercely defends her principles and those she loves, meaning her family.
Okay.
Hannah brilliantly revives the ghost of Tom Joad. I mean, this is absolutely amazing. I guess studied in history, but the Dust Bowl. I mean, those people really, those that migrated, really went through some things. This book touches on the poverty, being in food and money lines, looking for work, being abused emotionally, mentally, physically, women having to have their babies in cars because they had nowhere to live, camps where people had to live, camps where people died. And there was nothing, there was no hospital that, could help them. This was quite a horrendous period in history. And she just brings the humanity of it all in words in this book. And this, again, a 10-star book.
Wow.
Never read a Kristen Hanna that didn't get 5 stars.
Wow. It amazes me because when I saw the name The Four Winds,
right,
I thought it was a book that I was going to want to read, but and I don't know how into historical fiction I might be. I'll give it a try.
Yeah.
But I thought it was like one of the fantasy books.
Right.
Because a lot of the fantasy
I
books
thought so too.
Have 4 in the title.
Right? Yes,
and
yes.
Well, aren't we reading one?
We're reading The Fourth Wing.
Yeah, The Fourth
Wing.
So
yes.
It seems like that just seems to be a theme.
Yeah, I actually thought it was maybe a fantasy as well, but I knew, because I knew who Kristen Hanna was. I'm like, did she switch? But you're right; it gives you that impression. I also thought it may have been a spiritual book. Even though she writes so lyric. I mean, it's just you get, sometimes you get those kinds of connotations.
It's kind of poetic.
Yeah. Well, it's just a story. It's the narrative.
But I mean, just the flow and everything.
But the flow and the there's so many quotes you can pull from this, and it's just the power of family sticking together even through their hardships, love, grittiness, resiliency. It's just it's powerful.
Wow,
it's powerful. Beautiful book.
For introducing that one to me.
Beautiful.
So my next one is another one that you're familiar with. Now, everybody, I do have to say that this is not the book itself, but the book was written by these authors, and the name is very similar. This book is called Simple Church. And
there it is. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes. Rayner and Derek Geiger.
Love that book.
And so, but the name of the book that I'm talking about is Simple Life.
Simple Life. Yes.
And the really cool thing about Simple Life is it really, really helps you to simplify your life.
It does.
You think about how complicated life can be. And the reason that life tends to be complicated is because we complicate it. Life is really fairly simple. It just kind of is what it is. But one of the challenges that this book makes is to get you to kind of pare down some of the many activities that we have in life. And one of the things that it pointed out that I thought was really cool, babe, is that if we had just these bad things that we were doing in life, it'd be easy to get rid of them. Okay, I need to stop doing this.
Right.
But a lot of the things that we have on our plate are actually good.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it makes it harder to be able to decide maybe this is something I don't need to keep on my plate, and I need to stop for my sanity sake. Or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So that
I get it.
burn
Yeah.
out.
True.
And so this book helped me to do that. And it was very important during the time that I read it because I was stressed. I did have a lot on my plate. And I had to realize that I'm only one person.
Yep.
I can only get so much accomplished. And I had to really release some things, delegate some things to other people, and release them mentally.
Yep.
And release some stuff emotionally.
That's good.
So that I could be healthy in my spirit, in my mind, and in my emotions. So
yeah, great book.
And my body.
Great book.
Stress will do.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Great book. Great book.
Fantastic book.
Fantastic book.
Yeah.
So my last book, Paul, and everybody out there, is a life-changing book. From time to time, Paul, you get those books that are life-changing. And usually those are the books that you tend to go back to.
Right.
Once, twice, a year, or just when you need it. This book I've had on the shelf for years.
Okay.
I'll be honest with you. This book emanated from a movie, The War Room.
The War Room.
Yeah, remember that movie?
Yeah.
And as soon as it came out, I was like, I gotta get that book. And I went and got it, but I just put it on the shelf. Never ever read it. And this year, January, I decided to start my year off because number one to me is my spiritual development.
Right.
I can't be any good to you, any good to family, any good to anybody.
Nope.
Any good to this channel unless I have my spiritual man, ready.
Right.
And so this book was a life changer, a game changer, a changer, and it's Fervent by Priscilla Shirer.
Man.
A woman's battle plan for serious, specific, and strategic prayer.
That is a very powerful woman right there.
That's what I was going to say. First of all, she is quite an author. Quite an actress, just quite a writer, a speaker. And this book, and a lot of times you get those spiritual development books and they're just words, like the words are just running. And after a while, I'll be honest with you, I can't do it. I can't do it. There's no banter. There's no, and I had to put it down.
I can relate.
Yeah. I mean, because I guess it's just how my brain is wired, I guess. When I'm reading, I like banter, but I also like activity.
Right.
This book to me was an activity book.
Okay.
It's not a workbook. Don't get me wrong. It is a book. I mean, you can see the book, but it stops and asks you questions.
Okay.
Or it will stop and have you do something.
Okay.
Or at the end, it's requiring you to say things aloud.
Gotcha.
Or write out something. So I'm just going to read this one. The contents, we read a book and the chapters were in Acts.
Right.
Yeah, I think it was the Fury, I think.
Yeah.
This one is in strategies.
Okay.
So the table of contents starts with strategy 1, your passion.
All right.
Strategy 2, your focus. Strategy 3, your identity. Strategy 4, your family. Strategy 5, your past. Strategy 6, your fears. Strategy 7, your purity. Strategy 8, your pressures. Strategy 9, your hurts. And lastly, strategy 10, your relationships.
Wow.
And I mean, this book actually challenges you. So I could not just, this is a thin book. So I could get this done in 4 hours and I'd be done. Right. But this requires you to really let what Priscilla is writing soak in.
Okay.
Because there's so many scriptures, there's so many, things that the Holy Spirit gave to her that I really wanted to get in me. And so what I did was I took it week by week. Okay. So a strategy a week. Okay. That gave me the opportunity to put the strategy into practice.
That's good.
Each week. And so as you can see, it's annotated like crazy. Each chapter had a color.
That's your thing.
And yeah, you can see
That's
the
your thing.
highlights. I mean, highlights galore. And what I love about this one is at the end of each strategy, you're required to pull from the back of the book a prayer card. And I don't know if you're going to be able.
Yeah, pick it up.
Okay,
now.
and it's a pretty big prayer card. You can write front and back. You tear it because it has perforated edges.
Okay.
So you tear a card off. It's like a 4x6. And you write a prayer for each of those strategies. So like strategy 1 or strategy 7 was a prayer for purity. So it's this one's going to be a prayer for purity.
Got it.
And she tells you exactly how to form it. It's not a formula, but she tells you where to start.
Kind of like a template in a way.
Yeah, because what you want to do is each strategy as you write a prayer, you're building your prayer life.
Okay.
And you're becoming more fluid as you write your prayers each week.
Got it.
On those cards. So yeah, life-changing book, Fervent by Priscilla Shirer.
Now I realize that it says that it is a woman's book, but do you think that a man could benefit from reading that book?
There is actually a book similar by, I think, because she was in the movie, but the writer of The War Room.
Okay.
I can't remember his name. He was in the movie, I think. He wrote a version of this for men.
Okay.
But I will be honest with you. I had that book too. This one could be for men and women.
Okay.
Because of the strategy.
Yeah, it just makes sense to me that everybody needs prayer. Everybody needs a strategy.
Yes.
So it just seems like to me that anybody could benefit from
I believe so. I'm glad you asked that. Yeah. I believe that both men, women, teenagers could really, I mean, I'm not recommending, I'm just answering your question.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I don't think you would be hindered by this book if you were a man.
Okay, one of the things that you talked about too that I really, really appreciated was the fact that you said you took it, one strategy per week. Because a lot of times, in this book thing, we tend to want to read a lot of books.
Oh, yeah.
So that we can just say, I read 20 books, I read 40 books. But like, that's not the way I do it. I like to take my time with a book that I'm reading. I don't like to rush through it because I feel like you miss things.
You do. You really do. You do.
So I'm glad you said that because, I might not be the only person who's watching sometimes, some book channels and hearing people talk about how many books they read and feel like, oh man.
And you get a little intimidated, right?
I'm not even close to that. But,
yeah.
So it was really good to hear you say that you took that approach.
Yeah.
Thanks for the help, babe.
Ah!
So my final book, everybody, is really special to me because this is a book that I think we bought from the book outlet.
Okay. Online?
No, that's the book outlet online.
Yeah.
Well, in the book warehouse then.
Okay.
Which is the place that we talked about, I think, in our first or second video.
We sure did. We sure did.
A physical location
in our local area. Yeah.
Yeah, and we used to go buy books, and they'd have all kinds of books. Some
I miss them so much.
Looked like they might have come from like.
Please come back. Please come back.
This particular book right here, it says $6.98, but I think we might have got it for like $2 or $3.
Okay.
It grabbed my attention. It says compelling and hypnotic with a twist I guarantee you won't see coming. Now, I mean, not trying to be, like all fancy and all. For real, this book had a twist that I did not see coming. I remember telling you, I know who did it. I know who did it, right? Because it's a mystery thriller type book.
I remember.
I remember saying,
I know what you're talking about now.
And you were like, no, babe, you better not jump to any conclusions because the book might fool you. I was like, no, I got it. I figured it out.
I remember that book.
I did not know who did it. It was so crazy when I got to the end and saw who did it. And this book says, what if your whole life was based on lies?
I thought so.
By T.M. Logan, I believe the name is. It's covered up there, but it's T.M. Logan. Everybody, for real. this book right here, the title tells it all. What if you found out that your whole life was based on a lie? That everything you thought was true, none of it was true.
Oh my.
Like this book right here is off the hook. And I like it so much that I'm thinking about rereading it again.
Yeah.
Because it was just that good. And I think I lent this book to your mom.
Do you think so?
I think I did.
I'll ask her. I'll ask her. I know you sent her the Silent Patient.
This book right here.
Yeah.
Man, it is the truth. It's one of the best mystery books that I've ever read. And I plan on reading it again. This right here is my number one, everybody. Let me get it where you can see it. Lies by T.M. Logan.
Oh wow.
Fantastic book.
Wow.
Well, everybody, those are our favorites. Now, doesn't mean that those won't change. Doesn't mean that those won't change because currently we're reading The Fourth Wing.
Oh my goodness.
And that thing is starting to pick up speed and it's starting to get somewhat interesting. And I'm thinking that I am going to be digging that one.
It's a good one.
So it may creep up into that top 3 of all time. I don't know. What are you reading that you think might sort of ease into that top area?
Let us know what you're reading out there that, your top 3. How about that?
That's right.
Let us know what your current, because now we gave you our current top 3.
Right now.
By the end of the year, that may totally change. Shoot, by the end of next month, that could change. So tell us right now what you're reading or what you've read. What are your 3 current favorite reads? How about that? Yeah.
So at this time in your life, where you are today, out of all the books you've read,
where do you
what are the top 3?
What are the top 3?
Yeah, keep in mind, you may pick another one up that might be a banger.
Knock it off.
And it might change the whole order. Everybody, thank y'all
Thank you. Thank you. We really appreciate you all so much.
As always, we ask you guys to please
like
our channel, like our videos,
share
our channel, subscribe if you haven't already.
Please subscribe.
And please hit that notification bell so that you know when we have new content available for you to enjoy.
Thank y'all. We love what we do here, love reading, and we appreciate your love of reading as well. Hey, until next time, you know what to do.
Keep turning those pages.
Peace.
See
you next time.